Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great wherever you're watching from today. We have some big news. The United States, under the direction of President Donald Trump, has tested one of the most powerful weapons on the face of the planet in direct response to Russia testing new super weapons, and we might be in a new nuclear arms race. And it looks like this situation, as we indicated previously, is going to continue to escalate and get worse. And now the United States is sending the message to the Russians that if you want to play games and you want to test weapons, we can test weapons too. And our weapons are every bit as powerful as yours. And we're not going to back down. We're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to be scared. So we're going to break down exactly what happened. We're going to break down the weapon details as well as what the Russians are doing. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys absolutely nothing at all. Huge boost to the channel. Comment with your thoughts below. What do you think about President Donald Trump testing this weapon, essentially sending a direct message to the Russians? Hey, F around, find out. That's what the Trump administration, the United States military is doing. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that notifications bell. All notifications turn on. You won't miss a thing. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, X, D Hookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. My DMs are totally wide open. If you have any good tips you want to send me, or you just want to reach out and say hello, please jump into the DMs. I love talking with you guys. You guys are the best audience on all of YouTube. Now let's get into it. So we have watched escalation between the Russians, the United States, Ukraine, NATO, as the war in Ukraine continues to rage. Both sides, Ukraine and Russia, carrying out strikes deep into the other's territory. Ukraine is now trying to hammer Russian oil and energy infrastructure with the assistance of the United States of America. We are giving them intelligence. We are giving them weapons. NATO is giving them weapons. European countries are flooding weapons. They're essentially buying weapons from the United States and then turning around and giving them to Ukraine. And then we are giving them the intelligence, the targeting data they need in order to strike Russian oil energy infrastructure. The reason for this is because they're trying to stop the flow of money into the Putin regime. Now, the Putin regime has responded by carrying out brutal strikes across Ukraine, as well as routinely violating NATO airspace. That includes violating airspace in Belgium at a site, a secret site, where the United States has an undisclosed number of nukes at an airbase in Belgium. They flew drones spying on the nuke site. Well, that leads me to this. Let me get this up on the screen for you. So this was announced. I'm filming this on November 6th. So all information is up to date as of November 6th. This was announced on November 5th by the Department of War. An unarmed Minuteman III ICBM, which is an intercontinental ballistic missile, launches during an operational test at 1:35 a.m. Pacific time, November 5th, 2025, at Vandenberg Space Force Base, California, under POTUS and Secretary of War, POTUS obviously being Donald Trump, Secretary of War being Pete Hegseth. We have peace through strength. Okay, so right here, what you're looking at here is the missile launch. This is a launch of an ICBM. Now, it's kind of funny because House of Dynamite just came out on Netflix, which is all about an ICBM being launched at the U.S. I liked the movie. I saw the movie. If you saw the movie, let me know what you think in the comments below. What you see here on your screen is a photo of the missile launch of the Minuteman III ICBM. So we have some more details here. I'm going to put this up on the screen. This comes directly from the Air Force. It says Air Force Global Strike Command conducted a test launch of an unarmed Minuteman III ICBM from Vandenberg Space Force Base, California, on November 5th. This test, designated GT-254, evaluated the ongoing reliability, operational readiness, and accuracy of the ICBM system, a cornerstone of America's national defense. A team of Air Force GSC airmen from the 625th Strategic Operations Squadron, employing the Airborne Launch Control System from aboard a Navy E-6B Mercury aircraft, initiated the launch, testing the effectiveness and continuous availability of ALCS, a backup command and control system for the ICBM force. This is a quote from Lieutenant Colonel Kerry Ware, GT-254 is not just a launch, it's a comprehensive assessment to verify and validate the ICBM system's ability to perform its critical mission. The data collected during the test is invaluable in ensuring the continued reliability and accuracy of the ICBM weapon system. The Western Test Range at Vandenberg SFB serves as the testing ground for the critical effort. This launch is part of a series of routine and periodic activities crucial to assessing and validating the Minuteman III's capabilities. So this is a long-range ICBM that carries a nuke warhead. Now, they didn't drop a nuke when they did this, but this weapon carries a nuke and can wipe out entire cities. It is arguably the strongest, most devastating weapon on the planet. So the Russians are out there testing their thing, and we're reminding them. So I'm going to put this up. We are reminding them, hey, listen, pal, our weapons are bigger than yours. They're more accurate than yours. They're stronger than yours. And unlike yours, we know ours work whenever we want to press the red button. So just a few more details here. It says the LGM-30 Minuteman is an American land-based intercontinental ballistic missile in service with the Air Force Global Strike Command. As of 2024, the LGM-30G, which is the Minuteman III, is the only land-based ICBM in service in the United States and represents the land leg of the U.S. nuclear triad, along with the Trident II submarine-launched ballistic missile and nuclear weapons carried by long-range strategic bombers. So this is a Minuteman II. So this is the old version you're looking at now. This is a Minuteman I, which would be the original version right there. And then right here, you have the SLBM, which is fired by a submarine. That is the Minuteman III. So what you are looking at right there is the Minuteman III missile. That is the most modern one. That is what we have. That is what we are using. That is what we tested. Whoops. So that would be a look at the Minuteman III warhead. They have MIRVs, which is multiple independent targetable reentry vehicles. This is a look at how the warhead would split apart, and you would have multiple different missiles come down, making air defenses completely useless. There's a Minuteman III in the silo, and then that again is the launch. That was a test back in May 2025. So why are we doing this? We are doing this because the Russians are trying to intimidate us with all these new weapons they have. They're trying to stick the screws to the United States of America. And the president of the United States, President Donald Trump, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said, hey, it's time to send the Russians a message. We're going to remind them our weapons are better than yours, and our weapons are devastating. This is a world-ending weapon. This is a doomsday weapon. This is the kind of weapon that would carry out a horrific aftermath if it was ever used. So on the Russian front, they have tested the Poseidon and the Burevestnik. The Burevestnik is the nuke-powered cruise missile. The Poseidon is the nuke-powered torpedo, which they claim could end the world as well. So this is Putin talking about it. Let's see what he had to say.
The nuclear-powered, nuclear-capable Burevestnik missile and the Poseidon underwater autonomous vehicle. I'd like to thank all of the design bureaus and collectives. These are tens of thousands of people who participated in the development and creation of these powerful and unique weapons. The results that you have achieved are absolutely historical, and they're important for the strategic parity of our country. In fact, they provide a strategic parity for the whole 21st century.
So there is Vladimir Putin, the leader of Russia, talking about these new super weapons they have tested, the Burevestnik and the Poseidon. The Burevestnik, quite frankly, I don't really know. I think the Russians might be lying about its capabilities. They claim it flew 14,000 miles. It can stay in the air indefinitely for weeks, months, years. And then all of a sudden, it can just be ordered to go strike somewhere. And I'm skeptical, but the Russians claim it works. The United States believes it works. And then this is right here, Putin talking about the Poseidon. It has subtitles, which is the torpedo.
Это подводный безэкипажное подводное изделие «Посейдон», тоже с ядерной энергетической установкой. Нам впервые удалось не только стартовым двигателем запустить его с подводной лодки-носителя, но и запустить атомную энергетическую установку, на которой этот аппарат прошел определенное количество времени. Это огромный успех.
So that right there is Putin talking about the test of the Poseidon and claims it was highly successful. They claim this weapon could wipe out the entire East Coast, the entire West Coast. It would radiate everything. You'd have tsunamis with water that's carrying nuclear radiation and fallout. Again, this is what they're claiming. So this is the Poseidon. Says the Poseidon, previously known by the Russian codename Status 6, is an autonomous nuclear-powered unmanned underwater vehicle reportedly in production by the Rubin Design Bureau, capable of delivering both conventional and nuclear warheads. The Poseidon is one of 6 new Russian nuclear weapons announced by Russian President Vladimir Putin on March 1st, 2018. So this is a look at the torpedo that the Russians tested right there as they look at it. And then that is the propulsion, the alleged nuke propulsion system it has. And then this is the Burevnetsnik. It says the Burevnetsnik is a Russian low-flying, nuke-powered, nuke-armed cruise missile under development for the Russian armed forces. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, the missile's range is effectively unlimited. So right here, you can see a look at the Burevnetsnik missile. Right there is allegedly a photo screenshot of it. And then this is where it was the satellite imagery of where it is tested at. Right there is where it would be launched from. And then here are more launching photos of the launch site. So it's important to keep in mind while this is happening, President Donald Trump is also claiming the United States is going to start nuke testing. So right now, we just flew a missile that had no warhead on it. It was a test to prove to the world that, yes, our doomsday weapons, our world-ending weapons, they work just fine. And if you attack us with your super weapons, we'll wipe you off the face of the earth. Now, President Trump is saying, we're actually going to start detonating warheads. He's alleging that because Russia and China are carrying out secret tests, that the United States will have no choice but to carry out tests of our own. So the situation continues to get more and more dire, more and more serious as we continue up the escalation ladder, as we continue to develop new weapons, as we continue to test incredibly powerful weapons, weapons that can end the world. This has to do a lot with deterrence, because you can't let the Russians believe that they can do all these weapon tests and threaten the United States and that we're not going to respond. You have to make it clear to the Russians, if you play stupid games, you will win stupid prizes. So this is it's simple strategy. If the Russians are going to test weapons, we're going to test weapons. The difference is we know our weapons work and we know our weapons are real. Russia's out here talking about all this stuff they got, talking about all these different new super weapons they got. We know our weapons don't just work. We have plenty of them. We can drop them from airplanes. We can drop nukes from the B-2 bombers, the B-52, the B-1. We can fire them from submarines with submarine-launched ballistic missiles, the LBMs. And then we have the ICBMs, which is what we just tested, which make up the land component of the nuclear triad. So that is where we are at. We are continuing up the ladder. We are continuing both sides, making moves, trying to outmaneuver the other. But now the United States fired an ICBM to let the world know, do not mess with us. Our weapons will wipe everyone out. That's where we're at. We'll see how the Russians respond. We'll see how the Chinese respond. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of this weapons test? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you want to see a message sent to the Russians? Let me know in the comments below. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you nothing at all. Huge, huge, huge boost to the channel. Hit that notifications bell. All notifications turn on. You won't miss a thing. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, X, D Hookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. My DMs are wide open. Reach out with anything you have. I'll see you all next time.